Hey guys, TrainerDC here, coming at you with another video. Pokemon Legends Arceus was obviously a massive hit amongst the fan base. Everyone loved the game for the most part and wanted to see more from the Legends series going forward. At the point in time that Legends Arceus came out, we really did not know if there would be more from the Legends series. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were one and off type thing, and everyone thought there would be a Let's Go Johto game, but we never got that, so we were all left wondering, will we get a sequel to Pokemon Legends Arceus? And obviously we did get a second Legends game in Pokemon Legends ZA. But did you know, as a part of the recent leaks that happened the week of Pokemon Legends ZA's release, it turns out that Pokemon's second entry in the Legends series was actually never supposed to take place in Kalos. Pokemon Legends 2 was supposed to be titled Pokemon Legends Ho-Oh and Pokemon Legends Lugia, and were supposed to take place in the Johto region. This is a fascinating development that came in the most recent wave of leaks from the Terra leak. I feel like when Pokemon Legends Arceus first came out, everyone immediately went to Johto and Unova as the two regions that most deserve to be explored within the Legends series next. Both of which were quite understandable. Legends Unova, obviously, because of the original dragon never appearing in Black and White or Black and White 2, and obviously we all want to see what Kyurem looked like when it was fused with both Reshiram and Zekrom. So that was obviously one that felt like a no-brainer. But then the other one that everyone was talking about was a Legends Johto game, and I think part of the reason why was because Johto number 1 obviously is a region that hasn't been explored in quite some time. We last explored Johto all the way back in 2010 in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver on the Nintendo DS, so they are desperately in need of a revisit, that region is. And number 2, because Celebi is a time-traveling Pokemon, so it kind of thematically fits the Legends series where we go back in time from the future to basically solve problems in the past. Well, Legends ZA obviously changed up that formula as it takes place in the future, or 5 years after the original X and Y. But when Pokemon Legends 2 was going to be Pokemon Legends Ho and Legend Lugia, it was going to be two separate versions that basically marked the 25-year anniversary of the release of the original Gold and Silver, and it was going to be set in the past, aiming to be the ultimate form of the Legends series. And this is coming from Central Leaks, by the way, so shout out to them for compiling this together. It was going to be set in a time before Pokemon trainers existed. It was going to be a story about the origin of trainers, and presumably it would also be the origin of Pokeballs in general. The protagonist was going to be someone who had gone back in time, just like we did in Legends Arceus, and they were going to command Pokemon and revive 3 specific Pokemon, which obviously is referring to Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. There's a note here at the bottom saying the burned tower is said to have been destroyed by fire 150 years ago. In the past, it was a 9-story tower identical to the Bell Tower. Obviously, we know that the Johto region has a ton of lore within it. Obviously, the whole story of the burnt tower and these 3 Pokemon that perished in that fire and then later getting revived by Ho-Oh into Entei, Raikou, and Suicune is one of the most mysterious pieces of Pokemon lore that I feel like the entire community, the entire fan base wants to see explored. The closest thing we got to that so far is in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when we got Paradox forms, past variants for Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, but obviously we want to see what these Pokemon actually were like before they perished in the fire and the tower that burnt down. And it seems like Pokemon Legends Johto, Legends Ho-Oh, and Lugia were going to explore that. First and foremost, very briefly, I want to touch on the fact that there were 2 versions. Please don't ever do this, Game Freak. Never make a Legends game that has 2 versions. I've had enough of the 2-version formula. We need to go to just having, instead of Pokemon Wind and Waves, we just need one of them. We don't need 2 versions anymore. It was fine back in the DS and 3DS and the Game Boy eras, but in 2025, when you're paying $70 per game on the Switch 2, we only need 1 version. Enough with this 2-version nonsense. But with the whole idea of a Legends Johto game in general, I wanted to touch on why this didn't happen and why it should happen. So first and foremost, I feel like the reason why this game didn't happen is because Game Freak wanted to mix things up and push the Legends genre even further and experiment even more with it, which is why we got a game set in the present, or 5 years after the original X and Y, a sequel to the original X and Y, as opposed to something that's a prequel to, you know, the original Gold and Silver. They wanted to mix things up and do something different. They're trying to experiment with the Legends series, and I think that is why we're not getting, or we didn't get, Pokemon Legends Johto. However, though, I think Legends Johto is a game that needs to be explored at some point. I think this whole idea of us being the first ever Pokemon trainer is absolutely phenomenal. I think that's just a great concept for a game. And obviously, as I mentioned before, some of the biggest mystery within the Pokemon franchise is the burning of the Burnt Tower and seeing what Raikou, Suicune, and Entei originally looked like. So I think because of all of that, a Legends Johto game just makes too much sense not to happen. And while I absolutely love Legends ZA and I'm very happy that we got it, part of me is disappointed to know that this was an avenue they were exploring, and I hope that at some point they pick this up and decide to make this an actual game. I think the interesting thing about this, and the last thing I want to touch on before signing off, is that a part of this leak, and I touched on this in another video, apparently Legends 3 is supposed to be taking place in the Galar region. It's supposed to take place 1,000 years ago when, you know, the first ever Gigantamax Pokemon start to appear, and we create the first ever Gigantamax Pokeball that's going to be made of stone. That's a really interesting thing conceptually, because I'm assuming it would explore an event like the Darkest Day, and when Eternatus first came to the region and we get to see, you know, maybe some like primal forms for Zacian and Zamazenta. That is another game that's set in the past, and part of me is wondering, is Game Freak going to do something completely drastically different next time for a Legends game? Because they did the past already in Legends Arceus, they did the present in Pokemon Legends ZA. Are they going to do the future next in a different Pokemon game? Do you guys remember 5 years ago, I want to say at this point, I think it was before Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out, there was a rumor floating around that Generation 8 was going to be taking place in a Kanto region that's 100 years in the future, and it was kind of like this post-apocalyptic region that a lot of the Pokemon just went extinct, and we have new species of Pokemon, we have variants of old Pokemon, Cinnabar Island was completely destroyed. What if they made a Legends game like that? Like, that would fit perfectly into the Legends subgenre of Pokemon, and because of that, I do question if we are actually going to get a Legends Galar in, what was it, 2027 or 2028 was the rumor, because we were supposed to get Legends Johto, and that's a phenomenal idea, but they opted not to do that in favor of doing Legends ZA. But needless to say, I really do hope that one day Pokemon does go back and pick up where they left off with Legends Johto, because it's an absolutely phenomenal idea, and it's definitely a game that needs to happen. I want to see Legends Johto, I want to see Legends Galar, I want to see a Legends game for every region, honestly. There's no reason why eventually, with time, we can't get there. Anyways, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What do you guys think about the fact that Legends ZA was originally supposed to be Legends Johto? Are you happy that the next entry in the Legends series ended up being a revisit to the Kalos region that served as a sequel to the original X and Y? Or do you wish they did Legends Johto and we got to see the first Pokemon trainers come to be and got to see the original Raikou, Entei, and Suicune? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from Trainer DC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.